What's going on, everybody? Doc from Average Gamer Guys back yet again into another Rocket League episode, and doing something a little bit different today. We're not opening any crates, but one thing I've been wanting to do for a little while, I get a lot of comments, a lot of you guys ask either through the comments below or in messages, is how do I have the inventory I have? I've talked a little bit about this in some of the previous crate opening videos, but I thought it would be kind of interesting, especially if you're newer to Rocket League or newer to the trading community or just really not sure where to start. I just want to do what I'm going to call Trading 101. So I'm going to kind of talk to you through, how I've, very slowly, I'm going to put this out there, very slowly built my inventory. Just some of the tips and some of the things that you guys can do. Really doesn't matter what platform you're on. This is more specific for Xbox just because each community, PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam all have slightly variances in prices. Their trading communities are a little bit different. Everybody can trade keys, but that doesn't mean that the price on an Xbox for a Fire God, for instance, is going to be the same as it is on PlayStation or on Steam or on Switch. I don't want to forget Switch. So these are going to be general tips, but probably more specific to the Xbox-specific trading community. But I think, I'm going to just say this, I think for the most part, these tips that I'm going to give you and just kind of walking you through what I've done, hopefully should help you if you're struggling to kind of build your inventory a little bit. The first and foremost thing I'm going to say 100% upfront is if you're going to get into the trading scene and you're going to trade, you need to trade for things and items that you want. Obviously, the best way, hands down on any platform, to get the items that you want is to turn your items into keys. So I'm going to kind of talk to you a couple of different ways to be able to go and do that. But beyond that, you have to remember, my stance coming from this is building an inventory. I have a big inventory for two reasons. One, because I open a ton of crates. You guys got to remember that. I open a metric ton of crates. If you look at the past 20 videos that we've done that are crate openings and you add up the total amount of crates, we're talking a ton of crates that have been cracked open. So that helps my inventory just immensely. Now, for you, for most normal people out there that aren't going to open hundreds and hundreds of crates, that's not a good idea. Especially if you're looking for a few specific items. What I would tell you is do some searches, look around, come up with some ideas for some setups that you want, some specific items in your setups that you want, or some specific sets. I've talked about that before. Working towards a goal, a specific set, a set of wheels, a set of painted bodies, a set of boosts, a set of toppers is always great because it gives you a lot of customization options with what you want to do. Sets of trails as well. If you get a set of each thing, you're going to have a lot of options to play around. And then you can start figuring out which decal you want and how you want to set your colors up and all those kinds of things. So those are going to be some just initial tips up front. But understand what I'm telling you guys today, and this is by no means gospel. This isn't, I'm no trading expert. I just pay attention to the market. I do a lot of trading on Reddit and some of the other different communities. And I'm just going to tell you, these are things that have just worked for me. And these are pretty proven facts. For just being able to kind of slowly build your inventory. Again, this isn't going to be, these aren't tips on how to take, to go from nothing to something. You have to start somewhere. I hate to tell you guys this, but most nothings to somethings are people donating items and not those people necessarily trading for them. Now, I'm sure those are out there, but I'll just caution you against those. Most people, when they get into the trading community and they start to build their inventory, they might come across a couple really good deals that help them, that kind of move their inventory up. They might get lucky with a crate or two and open something really awesome. They might get lucky with a trade up. If you were to take 5 non-crate very rares, spend the time to get it, and then the first thing that you traded up to was a titanium wet octane, you just increased your inventory like 130 times. Just because that's the value of that. Now, most normal people, you're going to do that trade up and you're not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything very good. And you'll kind of be where you are. You might even set yourself back with that trade up. So just understand, I'm going to tell you kind of the strategies that have worked for me, some of the things that you can do, especially when some of the new stuff comes out, Rocket Pass or a crate, and just some ways to build it up. So The first thing I'm going to tell you is if you want to start in your inventory and you're just trying to wonder where to get started, you really don't have a whole lot, maybe you got donated some items or your friends kind of threw you a couple of things, here's what I'm going to tell you. Play the game. If you can just play the game and you can start working up to what we call non-crate very rares, NCVR, you're going to see it a lot, especially if you get into the trading communities. That's these right here. That's your banners. There's some boosts that line up with that. I don't know if I have any there. There's the feather boost. What else do we got here? Let's see. A lot of paint finishes are non-crate very rares. Okay, like Metallic Smooth and Moonrock here. I'll tell you this right now. You can very, very easily, if you go on most trading websites, or you trade on Reddit, or you trade on Facebook groups or wherever you are, if you trade at any of those places, people will always be buying non-crate very rares. They want the opportunity to obviously trade up, and people will pay keys to be able to trade up and get lucky for titanium white or painted octanes. So that's one place to start. Now on Xbox, there's some pretty relatively prescribed rates, but you can very, very easily take 2 non-crate very rares and trade that for a key. Most people will do that. If you save up and you can get a couple more, 5 to 3, so 5 non-crate very rares to 3 keys is pretty consistent, and then it kind of scales up as it goes. But it gives you an idea. Now, how do you get these very rares? Well, one, just playing the game. Playing the game, leveling up, period, especially in a double experience weekend like we just had, is going to be great for that. Level up, you're going to get an uncommon. It takes 5 uncommons to get a rare, 5 rares to get a very rare. Now, every once in a while, you might actually spike yourself a very rare after a game. You might spike yourself a rare, which really helps you. So that's essentially 5 uncommons. So just play the game. Play the game, save those. They're neat little toppers for the most part, but then if you're not going to use them, trade them up. Turn them into very rares. What I'm going to caution you against doing, because most of the time it doesn't work out for you, is trading these up. Most of the time this is not going to work. Yes, you may have the friend, you may watch me open or do like a bunch of them. You saw me just not too long ago trade up a bunch of them. We got a couple painted octanes. The rest of it, we really didn't get very much good stuff out of. So if you want somewhere to start, play the game. It's going to be a grind. This is the other part about trading. It's going to be a grind. But work yourself up to some very rares. Take those non-crate very rares, trade them into keys. Okay? Once you start to do that, you can accumulate some keys. You open yourself some options. Let's talk about crates for a minute. With the inclusion of crates or key trading in Xbox, crates value-wise drop significantly. Crates used to be a very solid way to trade back when there was not key trading on Xbox. Crates used to be a really solid way to move and to be able to get items pretty quickly. What I will tell you here is PCCs are going to be your best. Okay, I think that's probably pretty clear across most platforms. Your golden gifts, your golden pumpkins, and your golden eggs actually have some pretty solid value too. So I recommend, now it's hard again not to open these golden gifts, but if you play and you're just kind of grinding out and maybe you're not super excited about what's in the golden gifts, hang on to them. You can trade these almost for a key a piece, maybe a little bit less. Typically I try to trade for them at about 7 to 8 per 10 of these keys per golden gifts, and their price is going to fluctuate a little bit. You'll find some better rates up and down, but these are a great idea. So really anytime moving forward, as long as they continue to do this golden series, that's another good opportunity. If you just play the game, work towards these, you can very easily convert golden items into keys. Okay, so I've given you 2 options now. The other option is, again, while you're playing the game, you're going to get crates. You're going to get a smattering of nitros and impacts and victory crates and whatever else, elevations and zephyrs. Most of the crates at this point really don't have a solid value. You're looking at trading, in most instances, trading 20 plus, 24 plus for a single key. Zephyrs, for instance, is a good example of that. You'd have a hard time. You'd need a significant quantity in order to trade crates for a key. Now, PCC, you can get a much smaller ratio. The other interesting thing that you can do with PCCs is trade PCCs, small quantities of PCCs, for some of your lower priced items, if you will. And that's kind of neat. So if you get 4 PCCs and maybe you've got something, a boost or something that you're looking for, you could probably trade that to some people for the boost that you're looking for, or maybe a set of wheels. Now, the set of wheels, if you want, like, for instance, titanium white Dracos, you're going to have a hard time But we're talking incremental. We're talking small profit here. We're talking small ability to move one set of items into what we call more easily tradable items. Again, what I'm telling you though is you being able to do this and getting keys opens up your ability to buy those items that you want. If you're looking for massive profits or to trade all day in this game and walk away with thousands of dollars, I hate to tell you, most people are not going to be able to do that. You probably don't have the time, and honestly, the market fluctuates enough that you're probably going to have a difficult time doing that, even if you did have the time. I'm telling you this right now. When you look at trading, when you look at building an inventory, don't look at profit. Don't look at trying to get titanium white Dracos just because everybody has them and they're valued high. If you really like them and you think the style and the color is awesome and you've got a setup in your mind that you want, trade for that. Trade for that, make that your goal. But if you don't care and you just know that item, you want that item because it's worth a lot of keys, that's the wrong mentality I think you have around trading. Trade for what you want. Trade for a cool setup. Trade for something neat that you're going to enjoy and want to play the game with. Because at the end of the day, I've cautioned people against this before in my other videos, is you've got to be very careful. Don't let the trading ruin this game for you. This game is about hitting the ball with a car and boosting and maybe jumping up into the air and doing it at the same time and hopefully shooting it into the net. There is a huge trading community, so that's definitely a subset of this game. There's a lot of really neat items to be able to go for. What I'm telling you is you got to trade for stuff that you like. Don't trade for just key value. And what I'm telling you from personal experience, you will enjoy this game so much more if you can get a setup, work towards a setup that you really want and you care about, that you can enjoy playing with, more so than just trying to accumulate a bunch of items that have a bunch of key value. Okay, I'm telling you that right now. So back to what I was talking about though. One thing that you can do with crates that's going to be significant and will help you get some pretty quick profit, and when I say profit, I mean turning those into keys, is going to be when a new crate releases. When new crates release, they're at the height of their price, essentially. So very typically, if you can grind out a couple of them within the first couple days of the crate being released, you're going to be able to trade those pretty easily into keys. Now, the urge there is you get a new crate. It's got a bunch of new items in it. Probably some kind of painted decal or goal explosion. You want to use a key that you've gotten and you want to open that crate that you just earned, hoping that you hit it rich. Don't do that. Resist that urge. Hold on to that crate. Trade that crate or a couple of crates for a key. Do that a couple of times while people are really trying to buy them high, and then just play the game. I can guarantee you 2 weeks down the line from when a new crate releases, you're going to be able to buy like 10 of them or 5 of them or 7 of them for a key. And then you can take the chance then, because honestly, the item at that point that you're probably hoping to spike and make a ton of profit on is still just as worth it, or maybe just very slightly less worth what it would be when it first comes out of the crate. I'm just telling you that for fact. I've seen it time and time again when we get these new crates. So do that. So there's a couple really easy ways to jump in and to find some ways to get some keys very easily. And these are proven methods, I'm telling you. Non-crate very rares, crates when they first come out, and then these golden items from these events are great opportunities to be able to do that. Now, you're sitting there and saying, okay, so I've got couple of options. I can get some keys. What do I do with my keys once I've got them? I'm telling you, you need to take your keys and you need to trade for specific items that you want. If, let's say, for instance, maybe you work yourself up and you get a stash of keys. Maybe you get 10 keys or so. Maybe you bought the Rocket Pass and you made it through level 70 or level 100. You got all your keys out of it. You're kind of sitting on them. You're trying to figure out what to do. You've got a couple options. Again, you can open some crates. I don't recommend that, because your chance of making your money back on that and being able to turn the items that you get out of it into keys is not going to be good. If you watch the channel long enough, you know that's the case. The other option that you can do, again, beyond just trading straight for the items that you want, which is where I recommend that you go, is you can try to find some values. So there are some items that pretty easily trade for keys on a regular value. You hear people talk about always wanting items that are easy to trade. Your painted octanes typically are probably one of your best commodity that are going to have a pretty steady value and going to be able to do that. So if you have some items, start checking out the posts. Maybe you might be surprised, to be honest, what items you have in your inventory. If they have cool certifications, or they're a neat color, or they're from an original crate, things like Nitro Crate, and some of your CC4 crates. Those are rarer, and the items that come out of them are typically more sought after than if they're in a PCC or if they're in a Golden Series item, or crate rather. So you need to take a look at your inventory and see what you have. If you're sitting on a bunch of items in your inventory and you feel like nobody wants your items and nobody's trading you for them, what I'm going to tell you is, in my experience, most of the time when people tell me that, or I hear them say that, you need to look at the way that you're valuing your item. There's a couple of opportunities and a couple of options for you to do this. I'm not a big fan of these, but to be honest with you, it gives, especially a new trader or somebody not familiar with the market, at least a ballpark area of what you're looking at. There are price sheets, there's some apps that you guys can go look at. Use those, but use those, I'll say sparingly, use those to get an idea. One thing I will tell you, and I see this typically a lot, especially with younger traders, is that they think every item that they have is worth a key. That's not true. There are items in this game that are definitely not worth a key, that no one would pay a key for, and just because it's a one-for-one swap, you're not going to get that. So if you have items and you are sitting on something, maybe you open some crates and you've got some rares and things that you can't trade up to imports and things like that, I recommend maybe trying to do a bundle deal. Put a bundle together that you're willing to, you can even almost to a certain extent take a little bit of a loss on it to be able to trade it into a key or trade it into non-crate very rares. Like I said, if you can trade those items into your keys, your non-crate very rares, even your PCCs, trade the item that nobody wants. I guarantee you somebody out there wants it, and would be willing to throw you a couple PCC for it, to be honest with you. Which is a pretty common tactic. Then you can stack up your PCC, you can get to the 8 or 10 ratio, and then find somebody to trade those to for a key. This is a process that takes a lot of time, and takes some effort and just a little bit of understanding of the market. Now, again, I caution against spreadsheets and the price sheets. I caution a little bit against the apps and everything that you use. Again, use those to get a ballpark of what you're looking at. But get onto your trading platform, whatever you end up using. If you're not familiar, again, there are a couple. There's Reddit, there's Facebook groups, there's Looking For Group, there's Rocket League Garage. Those are some of the most popular. Hop on there and just kind of peruse to see what people are asking and selling for. Find some range in the middle. That's usually a very good way to just kind of judge the temperature on an item. And if you're not sure, there's a lot of communities, especially like Reddit, that do a great job. You can do a price check. There's people that are going to be able to help you out. And they'll be able to give you an idea of what you're looking at. Like I said, at the end of the day, you've got a couple of tips. You've got some way to build your inventory. As you start moving along and being able to do that, I think you'll start to find yourself some success. Now, again, you can play the market a little bit too. You can try to find opportunities where maybe somebody's quick selling an item. Maybe they're quick selling, a painted Octane body for a couple of keys less. If you've got the keys, this is another opportunity for you. If you've got the keys, you can pick that item up, and then you can just kind of wait for somebody that wants to pay, doesn't mind paying, essentially what we'll call the full market value for it, and you can make a couple key profit on that. Again, that's not a bad opportunity, but the biggest thing I just want to point out and just say is items in your inventory, they have a value. Just be very careful what you're valuing it at. A lot of times, especially with lower tier items, boosts especially seem to be one thing that I feel like people put a lot of value in and don't typically get the value out on. Bundle that stuff together. You'd be surprised. There's a lower tier trading subreddit on Reddit that you can go to that would give you the opportunity to move some of those smaller items. The other thing that you can do that I recommend, and again, I'll go back to this from the beginning, is figure out a setup that you want. If you figure out a setup that you want, and say you have a line boost and you want to pick up some kind of a saffron boost, maybe you can put your boost together with something else, maybe a couple of crates. And honestly, it might take you a little while. You got to be patient with this trading game, but I can almost guarantee you're going to find somebody that's willing to make that trade, especially if you make it worth their while. Like I said, if you're after profit, you're sitting here and you just want to build this crazy inventory up and do all these things, more power to you if that's what you really want. Like I said, I think you guys will be so much more happy if you just trade for the items that you want. Don't worry about the key values. If you lose a half a key value or a couple of crates because you picked up an item you want, don't stress over it. You're going to be excited. You're going to be happy. I'm always happy to pick up items that I personally want that make my setups look cool. And I've used some of these tips really just to help myself move forward and build the inventory. This inventory that I have has taken years to put together. I'm not done with it. There's a couple other things that I want, but I'm getting close to that point where, I have the setups I want. I have a lot of really neat ideas for setups, and that's exciting to me. Don't worry about the key values. Don't worry about the key prices. And honestly, that's why I can get so excited about the crate openings and the things that we do on the channel, because it doesn't really matter what's in that. It's cool to be able to pick up a new item. It's cool to pick up a painted exotic, obviously a black market. It's cool to pick up some of these neat boosts, colored import bodies, because honestly somebody out there is going to want it, and I don't mind trading it for a couple of items that I want to pick up, and trading it for just to trade, just to be able to get it in the community and have some fun. So I know this was a little bit of a ramble session. I'll probably have some gameplay going on in the background after I talk through a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of background, a couple of tips, especially if you're new, trying to figure out your way, trying to figure out how you can get items, and start to grow your inventory a little bit. Play the game, grind out some crates, grind out non-crate very rares, grind out your specialty items while we've got the special events going on, and hang on to those and then trade those into keys. That's going to be your best opportunity. Then take those keys and move forward from there. Pick up the items that you want, come up with setups, build yourself some sets. I can tell you'll have so much an easier time if you move the items you have and try to put them towards 1 or 2 sets at a time. Build those sets. You'll have so much more success, I think, building up your inventory, building those sets, and then giving yourself the opportunity to make some neat designs from there than just trying to go after all those high crazy value items. The other thing is, again, use the spreadsheets, use some of those opportunities to do that. Understand at least a little bit of the market and what your items, or what the item you're looking for has a general price range around, and just understand that it's incremental, right? You got to do it small, you got to do it piece by piece. But I can tell you, if you grind it out and you're patient, that's the other big thing. You got to be patient. Don't get frustrated. Don't sell your items super cheap just because nobody, I hear this so much, nobody wants my items, I can't move these. That tells me right there you just need some patience. Be patient, wait, watch out, look at the looking for groups, look at Rocket League Garage. Somebody will pick your items up, I guarantee you. And if you can't bundle them together, put a bundle together, somebody will pick it up if it's a good deal, and if it's not, continue to readjust your price. So just a couple of tips. The last thing I'll say, just to kind of close this out, and again, sorry for rambling so much, I hear this so much, and hear people ask and what can they do and want to trade and all that kind of stuff. The last thing I'm going to tell you is you need to be careful out there. You've got to be careful out there. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, in this community and in the world that will want to take advantage of either your generosity or the fact that you're looking for an item, and they'll try to scam you. You guys have all heard it. If you've been on any of the trading websites or groups or anything like that, you know those scams are out there. The best way to protect yourself, again, is that patience factor. Especially if you're in a trade window and you're trying to get an item, especially if it's a white item. Very typically they'll swap to gray, which is a very common scam out there. Take your time. Let them accept first. Don't let them pressure. Don't let people over the internet pressure you into a trade. If they're trying to do that, I'm going to be honest with you, they're probably either trying to scam you or they're trying to pull something over you. It's the same thing. Don't get bullied into a trade. If you throw out an offer and somebody gets frustrated or upset and doesn't like what you're offering, big deal. Move on. You'll find that trade somewhere else. Don't let people pressure you into it. It's another common tactic I see where they try to bully you into it, especially if they get you in a trade window or they get you into the trade lobby and they start putting items up and they're asking you to add, all that kind of stuff. I'm telling you, it's not worth it. Move on, find a different trade, back out. It's not a big deal. If they keep messaging, just block them. It sounds crazy, but I've done it. I know a lot of people have done it before. And just be safe out there. Be safe. Watch out for yourself. If you have any questions at all that your communities can really help you out with, Especially if you start to really get into the trading, there are moderators, there are middlemen that can help with those trades. They're certified, they have the backing of the community, which isn't always pan out to be the best, but honestly, if you get right with the communities and you stay focused and pay attention to them, you'll have no issues there. Just be safe, enjoy this. You have to enjoy the trading aspect of it. Set yourself some goals. You've got to have some setups that you're looking for, or just some ideas for some setups that you're looking for, and work those slowly. Again, work them slowly. If you want to play the gambling a little bit and you want to try to get lucky, get some crates and get some keys. You can pick up crates pretty cheap for the most part, and you can have some fun opening those for sure. If you want to do crate battles with your friends or whatever, that's always a really interesting, neat way to just have a little bit of fun, put a game inside of a game. But remember, at the end of the day, this game's about jumping up in the air and hitting a ball with your car, and having a cool setup while you do that is definitely neat, but it's not the end-all be-all. So this is a little Trading 101 with Doc from Average Gamer Guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please make sure subscribe, comment, like, do all that great stuff. If you've been around a while, hopefully this is helpful to you. I want to hear down in the comments below if you've got any more specific questions. Again, I'm not a guru on prices or anything like that. I'm not going to push for one group or the other because honestly I really don't care. But if you have specific questions about just trading in general, how to protect yourself from scamming or anything like that, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to get back to you, and we'll see what the comments back on this video are, and maybe we'll follow it up with kind of an additional trading, maybe some more specific tips, but hopefully we gave you guys a little bit of something to move on and to start build your inventory a little bit. So as always, thanks again. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. See ya.